This video is sponsored by the DJ Insurance Program through Insurance Canopy. Get 1 to 3 day liability insurance for your next event for just $59. Annual policies with equipment coverage are also available. Policies can be purchased online at www.insurancecanopy.com. What's going on? This is Kareem from DJBooth.net, and I'm here in the lab to give you guys a real official review of the new Allen Heath Xone PX5 professional 4-channel DJ mixer. So what we have here is a really cool mixer. It's one of the newest from Allen Heath, the Xone family. If you guys remember, we reviewed the Xone 23 and the 23C with the internal sound card. And we also reviewed the Xone 43C, which is the 4-channel version of the 23C, which also has the internal sound card as well. But this is the Allen Heath PX5, and this actually has an internal sound card, but it also has the same design, aesthetics, and cues as the other range in the Xone lineup. It also has the kind of look and feel of the DB series as well. So this is a nice mixer that fits in between the range of a 43C and the DB2, and it has internal onboard effects. It also has a lot of other effects, features, and functions, and it also has those great sounding filters that we all love from Allen Heath. Overall, the first impressions are very good. It's an extremely solid and well-built mixer all around. It's all metal everywhere, metal underneath the posts, metal all around, and it just feels very solid, and that is definitely built to last. Good for permanent installation for clubs, or good for your DJ booth, or even to take it with you on the go, because it's just so solid and so sturdy. Really good build quality that we've come to expect and love from the Allen Heath lineup. The setup is quite easy. You have lots of inputs and outputs, which we're going to go over very shortly. But all you have to do is plug in all your sources and you're ready to go. If you want to use this with Traktor Scratch Pro, because this is a Traktor Scratch certified mixer. It's a big plus, by the way. If you want to use this with Traktor Scratch, all you have to do is download the driver for the mixer. If you're using a Windows machine, if you're on Mac, you don't need any drivers, just plug it right in. Then all you got to do is go to your preferences within Traktor, click on the sound card, select this as your sound card, and you can use all 4 channels for DVS Traktor Scratch playback, meaning you can use your vinyl time code for your turntables, or you can use your CDs or thumb drives with the time code on it for your CDJ 4-channel playback. So really good stuff there, really easy to set up. So now we're just going to take a really quick dive on all the features and functions that you guys see here on the Xone PX5, put it on the table, and see exactly what we got. Okay, so first up, we're going to take a look at all of the inputs and outputs. And when it comes to the Allen Heath Xone PX5 mixer, they've got you covered no matter what setup you have. There are just a lot of inputs and output options that you have here, and it's very full featured, and it has your bases covered no matter what kind of setup you're using. So first up, all the way to the right, we have your microphone input. It's XLR style, and we also have an auxiliary input as well. You can use this in mono mode or in stereo using a pair of 1/4-inch jacks. We also have the perfect alignment of your channels with your inputs, so that way you can really easily break down and set up your mixer however you need. The A section will be controlled over here. This is your auxiliary section, and it's an auxiliary channel. Then you have your 4 RCA line and phono level pairs, and you have a little white button that you can press right next to all of your channels, and that way you can send USB signal either through your line or through your phono of each one of your channels. All the way at the bottom, you have your master output section. You have your master XLR, your master RCA. You also have your booth TRS, and you also have your insert TRS as well. You have an X-Link RJ45 adapter. So this here will allow you to plug in different Xone controllers that can link right to the X-Link, so that way you can only use a single USB cable going to your computer, so you don't have to tie up too many USB ports when using multiple Allen Heath X-Link devices. Next up, you have your USB port, and this is so you can connect for the internal sound card, which is Traktor Scratch Certified. Next up, you have your MIDI sync output, which is the old school MIDI style jack. You have your FX send and return. You have your power port, your on-off switch, and your record output as well. All right, so this is the Xone PX5 mixer, and right off the bat we're going to start at the bottom, which is the crossfader. The crossfader on mostly all Xone mixers have been really non-scratch worthy, and there's no exception to the rule here. This is basically a terrible crossfader for scratching, but it is very nice for doing your accurate normal fading back and forth. But again, it is not accurate enough or low cut-in distance enough for you to pull off any real type of scratching here. I'm sure there's some experts out there that could, compensate for the big gap and the slight fade even when it's set to its highest setting on the crossfader, but it just does not scratch adequately enough for real scratchers' needs. But again, good for fading. It does feel solid, like it's gonna last. But they should just definitely start putting in mini Inno faders from the jump on these mixers, especially at this higher, over $1,000 price point. Next up, you have your long throw faders for your line faders. They really have a nice long throw to them, and they're definitely longer than the crossfader, but they're also very loose. So those who like a stiffer line fader may be a little disappointed here, as these are pretty light to the feel or light to the throw style faders, but nevertheless they work really nicely for your fading duties. Next up, you have your LED meters for all of your channels, so that way you can monitor and tell when you're hitting the red, when you're clipping, and when you're not. Next, all the way over to the left, you have your Q section here. There's nothing on the front of the mixer, so it's good for club installations or a permanent install. You have your two different headphone jacks, your mini and your 1/4 inch. You have your volume control knob. You have your Q to mix fader knob, so you can go between what you're hearing in the Q in your headphones and what is actually out there in the mix. And you also have split Q, so that way you can have one of your ear cups playing your master mix and the other one playing what you're queuing up. Next up, you have your cue buttons. They all light up, so that way you can tell what is being queued up in your headphones. And you also have your filter buttons, which light up blue, so you can tell exactly which one of your channels are being filtered. Your filter section is over here. We'll go over that in a second. Next up, you have your 3-band EQs, your low, your mid, your highs. Nice rubbery feeling knobs here. Nice low and shallow knobs as well, so that way they don't come breaking off if you're moving this in transport. But really nice feel to them and really good sounding all 3 EQs. Next up, you have your crossfader switches here. These switches will allow you to enact your crossfader on either side, or you can turn it off completely, so that way the crossfader has no bearing on your channel's volume. Next up, you have your gain knobs at the top. And you also have a selector switch, which allows you to select between USB mode, phono mode, or line mode for all 4 of your channels. And for the aux channel, you're actually getting the selection between the mic input, the line input, or USB. Next up, all the way at the top, you have your separate FX send knobs. This is for your external effects modules, so that way you can change the send on each of your individual channels. Really powerful stuff here, so that way all of your individual channels, you can use your external effects onto the channels with ease. And right above that, you actually have the option to use dual effects, meaning you can use internal or external effects, or you can put them all together using the switch at the top. All the way to the left is internal, in the middle is dual, meaning you're using internal effects and the external effect module, and then you have EXT for only using the external effects module. Next up, you have your filter section, and your master control volume knob is all the way at the top. Your booth volume knob is next to that. Next up, you have your section of LED meters that lets you see your complete mix and lets you know if you're going into the red, if you're clipping, or if you're right at the volume level you need to be. Next up is the actual filter section, and this time you're going to get a frequency band, so that way you can change the frequency of the filter. You have an on-off switch. You also have a low pass filter, bypass filter, that's low and high, and then you have your high pass filter singularly, so that way you'll be able to change your filter preferences based on what you actually need at the time. Next, you have a resonance knob as well, so you can change the resonance of the filter, and you can also put the filter on your external return effects as well. So really cool, powerful stuff here with your filters. Unfortunately, I wish they had a filter knob for each one of your channels, so that way you can change the filter from being a low pass or a high pass on one or the other, and you wouldn't have to keep the same frequency and same resonance for all of your channels that you have the filter enacted upon. So I wish it was separate filters here, but the one filter does sound very, very nice, and it's very crisp and accurate, and I like the way you can change the frequency and the resonance, and you can really get different sounding filters than anything that's out there today. Next up is the all-powerful effects section all the way to the right. Really cool section over here because they have effects that aren't present on some of the other top mixers that are in the game today. And that's really a breath of fresh air because it just has some really cool effects that are all found within the menus. All the way at the top you have your pre-post send. This is your zone effects. And you also have a way to enact the effect on anywhere you want it to. It can be in the send, it can be in the master, channel 4, 3, 2, 1, or A. And you have your FX crossfade, can be on, off, or X and Y. So that way you can use the crossfader to start your effects, depending on which side of the fader you want to use. Or you can turn that off so that way you're not using the fader to enact your effect. Next up is your effect select knob. You can use this to go through all of the different effects here. Lots of effects. They have the massive Q delay, PCM delay, filter delay, DLY and reverb, mod delay, tape echo, clean plate, swell verb, concert hall, tiled room, attack gate, reso gate, flanger, pitch verb, time warp, and distortion. Really cool effects here. We're not going to go through all of them on this video, but we'll probably do another demo video where we can show you all these effects because it would just take all day to go through them all, and they're all really, really cool, and they all have something different that they can do to make your mix unique. Next up, you can change the beat frequency of the effect. And you also have a mode button so you can change the mode of that effect. And you can also tap in your own BPM if the auto BPM is not syncing correctly. Next up, you have all of your different items that you can use to change your effect. You have a level knob, you have a focus knob, and a decay knob, all of which change the effect based on what you have selected. You have your on-off button for your effects. And you also have your Q button as well. All the way down here on the bottom you have your crossfader controls. This allows you to change your crossfader to a really sharp cut, in the middle, or in a very long fade. And the channel faders can also be sharper cut or long fade as well. So in conclusion, the new Allen Heath Xone PX5 mixer is an excellent 4-channel mixer for anybody who wants something a bit different than what they're experiencing in the clubs when they're using the DJM series. It has really, really excellent build quality. It has really superb sound quality. It has those awesome zone filters that we all love. They sound different and punchy in different places that other filters don't. Very, very nice filters. And they also have a nice, unique feature set of unique effects that are inside of this mixer that you're not going to find in the DJM range. So it gives you a nice, robust amount of effects that are very, very nice to use, very easy to use, and they just sound very, very good. It also has the internal DVS sound card, and it is Traktor Scratch Certified. So that is really, really cool. So you can use this with Traktor with your timecode playback, and you can use all of the features within Traktor while mixing on this very powerful mixer here. It also has many, many inputs and outputs, including that old school MIDI connection. It has the X-Link. You have your sound card, and you have your send and returns that have a lot of different features and functions that you can use with it, such as sending those affected units back to your internal effects, and you can also add filter to those effects as well. On the downside, the crossfader is very, very laggy, and it doesn't lend itself well to any type of scratching at all. They should just start putting good faders in there from the jump. They do offer their Inno fader specifically for the zone line, but it would be nice if they just put it in there from the jump, especially when you're spending over $1,000 on a mixer of this quality. The other gripe that I have with this unit is that there's only one filter knob. So if you're trying to filter different areas on your mixer or different channels using a different filter for each, say for one you want to use a low pass and for another source you want to use a high pass, you won't be able to do that here because you can only select one or the other, and the knob can only go one way or the other, and it will be affecting all of your mix at the same time. So for more on a full summary of this review, you guys can head on over to www.djbooth.net/DJS, or you guys can click on the link in this description. Make sure you guys hit the thumbs up if you like this video. Make sure you guys keep coming back so you subscribe to these videos. And as always, thanks for watching.